Welcome to the Marketing Powers Podcast. I'm your host, Mwewa Mangangu, and I'm joined by my co-host, Grace Gondwe.
We're both marketing enthusiasts with a passion for sharing our knowledge and insights with you. This podcast is designed to equip our listeners with the information they need to excel at marketing in their different spaces. Our aim is to bring marketing home.
With that said, let's delve into today's episode. Hi, Grace.
Hi, Tukia.
Hi, Grace. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay. How's been the week?
Yeah, load shedding, guys.
Load shedding and this country. Name a better love story.
You know what has happened? After getting comfortable with working from home, now I have no electricity at home. Now I have to go to the office.
Oh, shame.
And the traffic in this country. Where do people have cars? Where is everyone driving to?
Where are you going?
No.
It's something else.
No.
At least you got the luxury of working from home.
I did, and
Not everyone had that.
I think I started taking it for granted.
Yeah.
And like now, if there's like a law where we can go and advocate for like working from home, like please let the people be at home. Like commuting is not good for your health.
Yeah.
Like it will make you tired. It will affect your mental health to be in traffic. The bus conductor
Everything.
is like harassing you. So like yeah, that's my complaint.
No, life
Yes.
comes at you very, very quickly.
It has come one day. It's raining, it's pouring. So we'll be getting into the conversation today, Mwewa.
Yes. So today we are joined by, as marketers, we need to acknowledge that there's the father in the country who takes care of us as professionals.
As marketers.
Exactly. And so we're joined by Mwewa Besa, who is the Zambia Institute of Marketing president, as in the president has come
Drum roll.
to talk to us.
Yeah, if this isn't making it in life, like if you're listening and if you're wondering whether we're legit or not, like this should be a signal to you.
Exactly.
That's what the real deal.
Exactly.
It's not a joke.
It's not
a
child's
joke.
play over here.
No.
This is the seal.
Yeah, that we are, even maybe we're not yet, but like big machines in the future.
Rubbing shoulders.
Yes.
Yes. Rubbing shoulders.
That's
This is what
it
they
is.
mean. A whole president.
Mr. Besa, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you have a very busy schedule, so it means the world to us that you would make it and have this conversation with us. Welcome.
Thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to be here, and I just love the spirit going on, and so, yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're happy.
Yeah.
We're happy. And we start off every interview with our compulsory questions. Okay. And especially coming from the father of Zambian marketing.
Yeah.
How do you define marketing?
I think there are a lot of, and I'm glad you said, how do you define marketing?
Yes.
I'll perhaps just sum it up as a creation of value. A marketer creates value and delivers the value to the intended target, which is a customer in this case, but also the people who access the services. And I'm very deliberate on that in the sense that it's not just about a value of a product or tangible product, but also a service. And speaking from a national point of view, I think there are a lot of services that we all enjoy. And a marketer is always there to be able to deliver that value.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Going back, what do I tell you people?
Yeah.
What are we talking about
Value.
every time we come here?
Customer centric, value, bottom line. Yeah.
We're trying to make money, but we are enhancing value for
correct.
the end consumers, and at the end of the day, being very customer centric about everything that we're doing.
Yeah, I think I liked the emphasis on value as well. I liked just clarifying that every product kind of has a service that is attached to it. And I think we touched on it. Well, I mean, we've probably touched on it on a few episodes, but there's always an experience that a user is getting from a product that you're providing. So, yeah, it's good to know that the president also looks at it that way. Yeah. So I think the next thing we would like to know is, how did you get into the space of marketing? Like, what's the backstory?
Sure. Wow. The backstory is, I think, the excitement that was created by the early marketers of this country. And I think it's always good to give some perspective. Marketing in Zambia, in the real sense as marketing, formalized as marketing, started, in the 70s, into the 80s. And I've been privileged to have been old enough in the 80s and the early 90s, and busy admiring some of the, our marketers who others have since transitioned or been to have gone to be with the Lord. Others are still here. The likes of, the Augustine Sayuba, the likes of, Julu Simule, who they think worked for Rob. And they created a lot of excitement. And watching them, when you see them on TV, it created a lot of excitement, and we're happy. And I guess within there triggered something to look out. What would you want to be? I would like to be a marketer. Fast forward, went into to do my marketing studies, and I diversified, so to speak, and did finance. Did my MBA is actually in finance. And moved on to do banking and finance in the process. I've done quite a few things within that space. I've also done programs within the card space at a higher level. But my passion has always remained in marketing and having worked in the retail space. By implication, meant that I had to do a lot of interaction with customers, and I've maintained my leg. My love with ZIM. I think upon my stint in the diaspora, I came back, immediately registered with the Institute, and I've been a part of the Zambia Institute of Marketing, in and out of season. What I mean is that whether I've held a position, I was privileged to have been given the opportunity to serve as Lusaka branch chairperson, where I think some of the colleagues I served with have moved on to do bigger and better things. But I've always maintained my relationship with the Institute, even when I'm out of, formal office. I joined council as I served as council secretary. But even when I left from being council secretary, I still maintained my association or my attachment to the Institute. To me, it's a profession that I'm very proud of, because I understand, I think, the value that the Institute adds, not just to the corporates, but to the nation as a whole.
I think that's really cool. I think it's really cool also coming from someone with experience in finance, because that's a space where a lot of very high level marketing takes place. Yes. Whether it's business to business or whether it's with business, the bank to a client, there's customer relationship management. From an advertising perspective, how are you going to sell this intangible, very sometimes expensive product to a consumer? So to see that someone with that kind of experience in banking and, finance see the value of marketing as a profession is really, really interesting.
Yeah, I was about to mention the same thing. I think from your story, what I picked up was the finance aspect and how generally you look at not only the business. You said you've been in the banking industry, from both the finance perspective and the marketing perspective, because most of the times those are two departments that are almost
in conflict.
Yes, in conflict. So it's very interesting. I think I would like to also dive into how maybe you would see different perspectives of the business from the two angles that, of course, you have academic background in.
Yeah, and I think the key thing is, by the way, I've never formally worked in finance, in accounting rather. But having worked in a financial institution, as long as I have, I've worked over, I think, well over 20 years in that space, and I've had the privilege, like I said, also to be front-facing or customer-facing. And to me, that's the best place, because that's where everything, happens. That's where you create value for the customer. And understanding numbers also helps you to be able to understand what drives an organization. And I've always said this and challenged my fellow marketers that I think we need to be able to understand the building blocks of a company's profitability. More often than not, we talk about the bottom line. What drives the bottom bottom line. We need to be able to understand that. Today, if you are in a boardroom, they're asking you to justify literally everything you're doing. But if you do not understand your numbers, it becomes a challenge. So, it's always important that people understand. And I've always encouraged colleagues. I know we try to run away from, we ran away from mathematics. At some point, you come to run into these things. So it's always important. Yeah, it comes back. Make sure you make the most of it. If you understand the numbers, you'll not be cheated. I always say that you'll not be cheated.
No, well said. And when you get an understanding of those numbers is when you can justify some of the things that you're doing in the organization. I couldn't have put it any better. Just going back to your journey through ZIM, what inspired you to become president?
It's an interesting discussion, but also at times, at some point, it invokes some emotions.
Okay.
I've been, like I said, I've been with the Institute for some time, and in and out of season, I emphasize that in the sense that regardless of whether I've held position or not, I've always found time to visit the Secretariat. And I would like to encourage our members to just take that upon themselves to make sure that they visit the Secretariat on a regular basis, just to get to know how things happen. And I guess with that, it has allowed me to have a stronger connection with the Institute. But for me also, it was, like I said, it triggered some form of emotion because I did have the privilege of meeting with our late president, Ken Sinkamba, I think about a couple of months before he passed on, where we had what was meant to be a breakfast turned out to be a brunch, turned out to be a lunch. And I think we were only parting company at the Mint, which at the time it was by Besa. And his desire and request was that if I could be able to take over, he would be humbled and honored if I could take over from him. Little did I know that was the last formal conversation we're having. And so when he passed on, of course I felt duty bound. But I think more importantly, it's not a question of somebody coming to you and telling you, you take over this. I've always had a passion for marketing. I've always had a passion for the Institute. And if there's one thing that that I thought I'll be able to contribute is how best we'd be able to bring our collective wisdom and help in terms of enhancing the Institute, the standing of the Institute. And ultimately, I hope over the last couple of years, I've been able to do that. But in terms of what made me make that decision, it's that conversation, which, I sat down with my wife, a lot of reflection. And she said, look, I think it's the right thing to do. At the time, before his passing, there was a lot of conversation and, trying to set that aside. But of course, when, somebody passes on, then you realize, the power that...
the weightiness of the words.
Exactly. And more so, there were a few things that transpired that led to ultimately my being able to make that decision. And I can tell you that I don't think it's a decision I regret. And I'm truly humbled that I've been given this opportunity to lead a profession like the Zambia Institute of Marketing. And by the way, it always brings pride to me when I hear the Republican president say that he is a chief marketing officer. It brings a lot of pride. And I think the key thing to me is it tells you you are leading a coveted profession. It's an aspirational group. And I hope our members out there will be able to see it as such and appreciate it as much. That the president is a chief marketing officer, and I'm proud to be part of that profession.
Awesome.
Funny, we've never highlighted that. We've never mentioned it here.
And for how much he says it.
Right?
Shame on you.
I should have been the one saying that.
Moving forward, we will say it on every episode.
Please.
No, that's a very interesting story and a very interesting take. I also got the privilege of meeting Mr. Sinkamba as well. Going back also to your ZIM presidency reign, what are some of the milestones that you've accomplished as the Zambia Institute of Marketing president? If you could just highlight a couple of them.
Okay, so my strongest belief is that leadership is about allowing the collective wisdom of the team to be able to thrive. And I would like to believe that we've given the opportunity to the members so that their wisdom can be able to bud. By members, we are a council, and like I said, I'm proud to be leading the council. We started off with the strategic plan, and there are a few things that we've been able to score on that. When I stood on the podium to campaign, one of the things I spoke about was unity, to try and unite. The first and foremost, integrity was top of that, to demonstrate integrity and ensure that as a professional body, we hold ourselves up as an institute that stands for integrity. I would like to believe we've done that. There's an aspect of unity. I would like to believe we've been able to do that.
Yes.
Also, to make the institute more inclusive. I think there was a notion that ZIM was for a few people.
Yes.
But I'd like to believe that we've actually been able to level the playing field where everybody feels they belong. And that, to me, I think is something that we've been able to deliver. We also... those are the softer parts. There's a heavy part, which is we have had a challenge of concentration risk from a point of view of, or that's me wearing a finance cap. But in terms of a revenue, we need to broaden our revenue base. This is something that we're still working on, but I'd like to believe it's something that we've actually been able to do. Last year we introduced another conference, which I believe will be the biggest conference in this country. That's a sales conference. We were meant to flag off, but certainly this year that's been done, and I'm hoping by the end of the year we'll be able to do that. We also started off with the super brand, or we're starting off with the super brand. There's a lot of mechanics that is going into that. Again, that will create a platform through which we'll be able to recognize some best performing brands. From a revenue point of view, it also speaks into that. So I believe those are some of the things that we've been able to do. But I think more importantly to me, close to my heart, is our level of engagement with the student chapters. I think that's something that I would want to see even go further. We've increased the number of student chapters. There's more excitement being created by the students, and to me, if we can get the students get more involved in the institute, we have a future in our profession. That to me is the hallmark of everything.
100%. And I would like to give kudos to you when you mentioned integrity, unity, engagement, and also being inclusive. I 100%. This is something that I'm seeing for myself, actually. I'm not just talking from without. I think the level of engagement and even being more inclusive as Zambia Institute of Marketing, I think you've done a very, very commendable job.
No, thank you. Like I said, it's about the collective wisdom. I don't take the credit for that. I have a wonderful team. We've worked as a perfect team, or near perfect team. But I think there's still some areas where we could do better. The other thing that also I think is worth mentioning is driving thought leadership. One of the things that we started off was how do we ensure that we enhance the visibility of the institute. I can proudly tell you that the last couple of years that I've been at the head of the institute, as ZIM, we've made submissions to for budgetary consideration to the Ministry of Finance. We are getting to a point where even the Ministry of Commerce is asking us to be able to support them on certain interventions. So to me, that is raising our profile to the point where even certain institutions that never used to give us that consideration is now giving us that consideration. I can proudly tell you that I've been called. I've led the team for us to go before Parliament and give our position on certain things within Parliament, within the Committee of Parliament. Again, that's part of driving thought leadership, but it also helps to enhance the visibility of the institute. Is that all? I think there's a lot more that we can do, and I think the idea is that how do we take things to the next level?
I like the idea of thought leadership and speaking into policy, speaking into legal issues and stuff like that. I think I like that it is coming from the Institute of Marketing, because I think that there is sometimes a danger to see marketing as a profession that is very selling focused. But if we can brand ourselves as people who can speak into policy, people who can, talk to trade and commerce and, give insight on how some of these things, the macroeconomic benefits of a good marketing system, I think that's amazing. And I'm so glad to hear that those are some of the things that we're doing.
So I'm happy to tell you this, that yes, and thank you so much for that acknowledgement. One of the things that we also have engaged the Minister of Commerce, who is our parent minister, is or the Minister of Commerce is for serious consideration when they're sending trade attachés outside of Zambia, because we believe that we are up to the task. We can help in terms of being able to mobilize investors for this country. We're also proud, I can proudly tell you that we've had the privilege of having some of our professional marketers being deployed as tourism attachés.
Oh, yes.
And the results are there to, for one to be able to see what has happened. So I was very happy when I saw a delegation coming in from Malaysia, and that brought a lot of pride. I'm happy when I see what's going on in Egypt, where again, one of our professional former members and current members and a former member of the council, Jessie herself was acting president, being able to bring in a team also, doing things in Egypt and trying to drive tourism for Zambia. So we'll continue doing that and engaging government from that angle and making sure that we continue to add value.
Yes, please. I think the other thing coming from Zambian learning institution and having interacted with the student chapters, I think that is something that I'm also really excited to see, because from a student's perspective, I mean, it's been a few years, but from a student's perspective, I think it was very exciting having those interactions with professionals, from the perspective of them just sharing their lived experiences, but also just giving insights into this is what the industry looks like. These are some of the things you can look forward to. There is space for you, if you equip yourself with the right skills and have the right attitude. I think that's also really amazing.
Oh yes, because I mean, every time they walked in, you and depending on the, because you'd always have a number of speakers, right? And when they start talking about marketing and different things, and now you start, as a student, you start feeling validated in that instance, and you go, okay, you know what, I'm doing the right thing.
Yes, I didn't make a mistake. I can get to where they are. I need to apply myself. I need to do this, and we understand that obviously times are getting more and more competitive, and I mean that's the need for us as marketers. And as we always say, if you're going to be a marketer, continuous learning is always going to be very
top
important.
of mind, and you need to continue exploring,
upskilling,
as well as you can.
Actually, I'm glad you're acknowledging that. One of the things that's also done in these learning institutions is the enrollment for marketing has actually gone through the roof. So we have a situation where in this quota system, where in the third year people are choosing, I'm going to do marketing, and in the past we had situations where 5, 6, a whole class of just 6, 7. Now we're having 60, 50 opting to do marketing.
Love to see it.
I think that level of engagement is helping. We're also having some conversations with some learning institutions that have seen the need to start, for example, offering marketing right from year one. So these, I think the interactions, to me, is something that we must be able to continue, and hopefully to be able to help us to be able to generate or hatch out well-baked marketers that will understand marketing from end to end.
That's right.
When it comes to quotas, I don't know. I know the three of us. I've got a lot to say about the experience that we went through.
We can talk about it. We have another question, but we can
talk about it. Yeah. And one thing that I disagreed with when it comes to the institutions was where, like for us, it was the mainstream. You had your your accountancy, business admin, marketing. Now, what do they have? I don't know if it's human resource or is it transport and logistics. I'm not sure what else they had, but it was putting a a way that
It was hierarchical.
exactly, and made certain programs feel inferior.
No, don't say made certain programs. The accounting class had the highest quota.
Yes.
Had the highest quota mark, and then the admin class,
yes.
and then the marketing class. And so if you were very smart and you got the highest point score,
yes.
you went to the accountancy class.
Automatically.
I would like to tell you that I think all three of us at this table.
Miss,
No.
We are having this conversation.
It's a heart-to-heart conversation,
all
right?
three of us at this table,
Yes.
I think,
Made
opted to go to the market class. We could
Yes.
have gone to the accounting
Yes.
class,
We
but we
made
opted
it.
to go.
So you made a conscious
made it.
decision.
Yes.
Actually,
Awesome.
when the list came out, we were all put in
Yes,
accountancy.
we were all put in the accounting.
Awesome. So I'm in the right place.
yeah, so we're very deliberate
yeah.
about it. I think even when we were asked before it was even time to make those decisions, how many are going to marketing? Like we came to the institution ready for that. Well, Grace made her decision.
Yeah,
at the institution.
it happened while I was there. But listen, I chose. That's what
That's what's
matters.
important.
And that's just what we're bringing to the front now. Like we're very deliberate about the decision to go into marketing, and that's something I guess the institution needs to do because themselves putting it in quotas now. People felt like, you know what, if
maybe I'm not not
Exactly.
smart, and like it means I'm not good. It almost felt like because I couldn't do all of these other things, let me just go and do this, But I think what we're trying to bring out in this conversation is this is something that you can aspire to, It's something that you can look forward to. There's fulfillment in doing it, and it will still push you to grow. It's not the easy way out. Even though we said we ran away from the math and stuff like that, it wasn't the easy way out. Our program was challenging. Our faculty members pushed us and got the best out of us. So if you're out there and you're wanting to make the decision and you're thinking, okay, maybe it's not as prestigious, as maybe becoming an accountant or getting a BBA degree, marketing is something that you can aspire to, that you will experience growth in, that you can build a career out of.
Yes, and now that you've mentioned that, I also just want to bring to light. Let me give you your flowers for a second, okay? Because by the time we were leaving the institution, Tukia was the highest. He broke the record. In the School of Business for having the highest points. Okay, and that just speaks to how smart he is. Okay, unfortunately,
in marketing,
in marketing and the whole of School of Business put together, he excelled above everyone else. Unfortunately, his record was just broken.
Fortunately,
by another marketer.
Titus, kudos to that guy.
Shout out to Titus. We're looking forward to all the amazing things you do.
So I guess there's a lot of value, and I'm sure you guys can attest to this. Gone are the days when you want to do marketing. Oh no, you can do marketing. But we want the best brands to drive value, because remember, our role is to drive value, not just for the companies, but for the nation as a whole. And you need the right frame of mind to be able to do that. And I'm proud I'm sharing a table with good geniuses here. And let's see how best we can be able to take things to the next level. But assuredly, today the enrollment, I think tables are turning. Marketers, I think the perception that marketers have now have actually changed. There's a totally different perception, even from the faculty point of view. I think we're being looked at as a serious profession, not to a situation where people are relegated into marketing. People are opting into marketing. And I think that's a key thing that we need to be able to emphasize.
Love to hear it, I'm telling you.
And now with the fact that you've mentioned that, right, I'd like to ask you a question. And that's, how does the institute now compare to other marketing institutes across the globe?
Even the profession, I think, as well. Like, how are we doing as a profession here locally versus what is
obtaining? Yeah, I think in terms of, first and foremost, we. Oh, by the way, it was a visit I made to CBU, and one of the students said that the biggest problem of marketing is marketing. I think we don't market ourselves as much as we should. There's a lot of things that we can turn the volume up around ourselves. Some of the successes that we've been able to score, that perhaps we need to start turning the volume up a little bit. What do I mean? ZIM was one of the founders of the Confederation of African Marketers. So there's the African Marketing Confederation. We are part of the founding members of that particular body. And I think among the key members was Zambia itself. We had the likes of Kenya, and then South Africa. IMM came in from South Africa as well as Zimbabwe. So we're among the co-founders. We're among the core group that formed that particular institution. From there, we've also had a very strong relationship with the Chartered Institute of Marketing of the UK, to the point where we did a mapping. By mapping, that allows us, our students from marketing, from ZIM diploma, could be able to move on to go and do a CIM diploma, postgraduate diploma, based on the strength or the weight of the marketing diploma. So we, from also a point of view of professional accolades, I would like to believe that our marketers are up to the task. We've had to deploy marketers who I know from Zambia who are working outside of this country, or who have the privilege of taking up serious positions outside of this country. I doubt they'll be given that opportunity if they were not up to the task. So the reason why they're given these responsibilities is because they're up to the task and they're able to perform as just as good, if not better, than their peers. So I'm very confident that we have been able to deliver. But like everything else, I think there's always room for improvement. We've seen the resurgence of, the likes of digital marketing. As the world is evolving, I think it's absolutely critical that as marketers, we also need to be able to evolve with the world and make sure that we take up some of the challenges that are coming up and be ready to be able to overcome them.
Oh, lovely. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting that you've spoken to Zambia being that founding member, as a part of the African Institute and so on, because the next thing we were going to ask is, insofar as collaboration goes, you've mentioned the Chartered Institute of Marketing and so on, but maybe are there any others that you would want to mention that are collaborations that the Institute has done that maybe someone who's an individual as a marketer could look at and benefit from, or that have contributed to improving the profession as a whole? So
we have a very strong relationship with Zimbabwe, Marketing Association of Zimbabwe. We have a very strong collaborative relationship, and I think maybe it's not as reciprocal as it ought to be with the Malawi Association. These guys have been all-weather friends to the point where I personally feel bad that I've actually missed the last two conferences. But certainly one of the things that we've done is to send representation. We've hatched a good relationship with the Ghanaian through one of the professors who's actually lecturing there. We also have Institute of Marketing Management in South Africa. We have a very strong collaborative relationship. They also are running a learning institution. And again, besides our regulating that learning institution here within Zambia, we also have a strong relationship with them. We're also looking at, we also have forged working relationship with Uganda, and we're exploring the same options in Tanzania. Kenya, like I said, as part of the core group that formed, the African Confederation, Kenya played a key role. So we do have, relationships with some of those institutions. What we want to do is, of course, to be able to raise the bar to the extent where, as Zambia, we don't want people to be questioning our marketers. We want our marketers, to have an open door where if they choose to go and work in Kenya, they can live and work in Kenya. Their qualifications will be recognized. And in a way, that's what this whole issue about the Confederation, the African Confederation, that's what it's all about. If we can be able to harmonize our qualifications across the continent, then, there will be free mobility. Remember that our governments are pushing the agenda for Africa Continental Free Trade Area. It follows then that even the qualifications that our members hold must be qualifications that will allow them to get a job literally
seamlessly.
everywhere
Yeah.
across the continent. So that is something that we're working on. Of course, I'll tell you that in the last couple of years, the focus of my administration has been more around building stronger linkages locally and making sure that we first and foremost address the issues to do with enforcement of the act. We build linkages with other local professionals, and I'm glad to tell you, on the 26th of March, we signed an MOU with the Zambia Institute of Human Resource Management. I was privileged to have been called to go and speak at their conference last month, in the month of April. Prior to that, I was also speaking at the ZIPRAC conference. So we're hoping to cement this, and year in, year out, we reach out. We've been magnanimous enough to reach out to all the professional bodies. Beyond that, we would like to sign MOUs just to make sure that we cement our relationship with the Zambians of marketing with the other professional bodies.
You touching on, the AFCFTA and thinking about how can human resource also move across borders, seamlessly, I think would feed into the question around personal development and training. And I think you've mentioned the ZIM diploma and so on. If a young person or a marketer is looking to upskill, is looking to increase their skills base, what can the institute do for me? When I come to the institute and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm already in marketing, or I'm thinking about going into marketing. What are the options available for me?
So if you remember, I think before we started having our conversation, I alluded to the aspect of having many associates. And basically an associates would like to see an upgrade of a lot of those associates into full members. Ultimately, I would like them to have an aspiration to be president one day. And I'm hoping at the end of my term, I would have provoked maybe 10, 20 people to aspire to be presidents of the Zambia Institute of Marketing. So in terms of what we provide, I think we provide different training programs. There's also the CPD, because CPD, that's continuous professional development. That's part of what we all need to be able to plug into. But outside of that, the mandate of ZIM is both to regulate the practice as well as, the training of marketers. So we do have training programs. And for those who are coming from, you could have a degree in production management, for example. But you also on the strength of your degree in production management, it gives you an opportunity to upgrade. You'll be given an opportunity to do your postgraduate diploma in marketing. That is open. It's not restricted to people who have done marketing.
Okay.
So somebody can be coming from an engineering field, but they can also come and do the postgraduate diploma in marketing because they already have another, a program from which they've the first degree. So we are doing a lot in terms of being able to encourage members to go back to school. We are encouraging members to convert, those who are associates to aspire to do. And there are good testimonials. I've got a few friends who have actually said, look, feel free to use me. I can, specifically maybe even mention, I know she probably wouldn't mind, Cynthia Mwewa, she's now with NATSEV, the head of retail for NATSEV. Her background is law. She did the degree in law in the UK and has worked in the business. She's worked for the Queen's Bank or the King's Bank now, Goods. She worked with Stanchard locally. She worked with Zambia National Building Society. Now heading retail but also realized, look, I think I can convert. She did a postgraduate, diploma in marketing, and she's a full member as we are speaking. So these are things I'd like to encourage members to take up that. And if you're part of a team that is run by a committee, aspire to be on the committee. And the only way you can aspire to be part of the committee is making sure you become a full member. By virtue of you becoming a full member, ultimately you can become a fellow. By fellow, you can be vice president, either one of the two vice presidents, or ultimately you can become a president, even eventually becoming a chairperson of the disciplinary committee, which is the requirement, is one has to be a fellow.
I like the reference to all of these, people who are coming from other professional backgrounds and then coming into marketing. Because I think we've said this, on almost every episode about how marketing is such a dynamic space that you don't have to start out with a marketing degree. I think we have, one of our guests on one of our episodes whose background, she started out wanting to to go into corporate communications, and then segued, and opportunities allowed for her to then become marketing manager for the organization she works with. So I think I really like that you can be an engineer, you can be a lawyer, you can be all of these different things, and still work as a marketer, as the chief marketer of the country works also.
Exactly. And speaking of inspiration, obviously on a lighter note, I just wanted to ask you, any aspirations to be ZIM president one day, Grace?
Not before this conversation.
Yes, the inspiration is in front of you. It's in front of you.
After this, of course, one day. Yeah, one day. I don't know which day, but one day.
I specifically like how you've mentioned time and time again in the way you've answered some of the questions, how you've elevated not only the marketing, rather marketing as a professional body, but Zambia Institute of Marketing as well. Yeah. And I also appreciate the name dropping. Like there's evidence.
There's reference points.
Yes, there's reference points. You've mentioned time and time again different names of different people who've done so many great things from Zambia Institute of Marketing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes. So with that, I want to get into those who want to start doing great things. So I'll come from a student perspective. I mean, having graduated, I think one of the challenges we had was very hard to find our feet.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I think at the time, because you'd constantly be asking, I don't think there were any necessarily things put in place or MOUs signed with different companies to the point where we were ready to do anything, and we just wanted it to be something that enhanced our knowledge of marketing in the way that we had some industry experience, so much so that we're ready. Obviously, it's important that companies do pay and do, like, if you're doing internship, at least you do get some remuneration for the work you're doing. And just how is the institute doing that for the upcoming marketers, so much so that even if you move from one institution to the next, at least you have this level of some experience that you've picked up that can allow you to actually help find a job elsewhere. Because I think those little things actually help people do find better jobs in the future. And just if it's 6 months or a year, just different companies, it really does a lot.
So the institute has we've had a series of meetings and engagements with even HR practitioners. Other than the MOU we signed with Zambia Institute of Human Resource Management, we've also been having conversations with some recruitment agencies. Again, the idea behind that is, first and foremost, when they're recruiting somebody within the marketing sphere or area, who to talk to but the Zambia Institute of Marketing, who's the right person. I think we're the right group to be able to have a conversation with. So that is something that we actually are doing. We also provide internship opportunities. I'm swamped left, right, and center with students reaching out, and I always direct them to the institute, because from the institute we're having conversations with different organizations to provide some internship opportunities for students. Be it those who have graduated or those who are in the middle of school, they're about to graduate, maybe a year or two before they graduate. The idea is we want to be able to give them that work experience. We also run conferences, as you may be aware. One of the conferences that we run also is a student conference. And again, with that, the idea is to give an opportunity for students to listen to people from industry. We also have had, the networking event, which is primarily for students. And the idea is to bring in people from industry who'll be able to help them and speak to them in terms of how they can get started. If I share my story, perhaps there's somebody who identifies with my story. That gives hope to that person. So we've been doing some of those activities. But like I said, I keep saying this, there's always room for more to be done. We do have companies that have actually raised their hand and say, look, if you need an internship, I've got a couple of slots for an internship. So I need a marketer, or I need marketers. So we do link those, students from the chapter, wherever they're coming from. We actually try try to link them up to the industry. The idea is, and also we encourage them also to attend the conference, by the way, in Livingston, the annual conference. The idea is we want them to be able to interact with people who are in industry. Tomorrow, these are the guys they're going to sit before, and we know when they're being interviewed. So I encourage them personally when I'm having these conversations with them. I always encourage them. That's good for them, for building rapport. And, we are all amenable to working or speaking well to somebody we've met before than somebody who's a total stranger. So they can utilize that opportunity of the conference when they meet at the conference, make sure that they have a closer interaction with those people.
Awesome.
That is good.
Awesome. I think it gives hope to a young person or someone who wants to venture into this space for where they can start. So that's really good. I think the other side of the conversation is challenges. Like there's obviously, all of these amazing stories and, it's amazing to see all of these successes. But as a profession, as an institute, what are some of the challenges that you've seen over the last couple of years that maybe we don't have solutions to as yet, that I think can have us and some of the people listening put our thinking caps on to look for solutions for?
I think the biggest challenge is that people will always be people, regardless of what you do. Regardless of what you do, how well you do it, there will always be people to punch and poke holes in that. And I guess that's what makes us aspire to improve and do better. The bigger challenge is the reluctance for people to pay fees. We understand the subscriptions, that is. We understand that, the economy is biting. But if you are calling yourself a marketer, the first thing you should be thinking of is to first and foremost pay your subscription, because that's what gives you the license even to be able to speak out, the license to have your voice heard. I saw happen, by the way, I wear another cap. I'm also the president for Zambia Martial Arts Federation. So when I'm dealing with karatekas, it's a different conversation.
Wait, what?
Where
Look at this guy.
You're right. In the
black belt in the building.
So there you tell people, sit down. You have not paid, sit down. I think in ZIM we're a little bit more diplomatic. But the point I'm trying to underscore is that if you are a professional, what renders you to be a professional is because you belong to this professional body. But if you're not paid up, you don't belong to that professional body. The professional body cannot represent your interests. But so the biggest challenge we're faced with is the scanty subscriptions. And I'm glad there's an aggressive team of colleagues that have been put up who are pushing the enforcement aspect of things. But in my view, I've always believed that as a professional, I should not be told to pay my subscription. During the time I've been president, I've given it my mandate to make sure, even before I applied, to be the first person to pay subscription. Sadly, I was Mr. Akfelo Chanda beat me last year, I think by a day. So, and I'm saying paying my subscription as early as August when it's due in October. I'm excited doing it because I'm passionate about my profession, and I'd like to see more of that among our members. Excited, asking, when are the subscriptions due? And I'd like to make a payment. So the bigger challenge has been around our finances, but I would like to believe these interventions that we're putting in place will help us to be able to overcome that. And also just, a fair share, like I said, people are people. We are doing what we are doing, but not everybody has an appreciation of what is going on. And my encouragement is for everybody to get active and just make sure that they become curious and want to know what is actually going on in their profession. If we all did that, I would like to believe we can be able to change things.
I think
the message is clear.
After that marketing that you've done of the institute, I think people will be coming to pay the money. I'm sure Mkwemba is going to pay in July.
I look forward to that.
It's only fair. As we close off this particular segment, I think the last question that I'll ask: what does the future look like for ZIM?
The future is very bright. for ZIM because I think we're now, like I said, we have been dealing with the softer issues. We're now moving into the strategic realm. One of the key things that we need to now start looking at is establishing our very own secretariat. We want to make sure that we have, and I can proudly tell you, the Minister of Tourism is a member of the Institute. The PS of Tourism is a member of the Institute. We have members who are in very strategic institutions, the likes of Matongo Matamwandi, who's a Zambia Tourism Agency Executive Director or CEO. We have quite a good number of members who are both running their own entities as well as leading big institutions. The PS of Mines is one of the former presidents, Dr. Apenga Kabeta.
Oh, okay.
So we do have members who are very strategically located. Our next level of engagement is how do we raise the bar significantly? And by raising the bar, we now need to look at putting certain things in place, such as our own secretariat. We need to own our own secretariat as opposed to renting. At the moment, we are renting. We're also looking to how can we start looking at setting up entities where we can now start doing some investment. But before we can get to that, of course, we've been grappling with this overhang of debt that we need to be able to demolish. And I think a lot of strides have been made to that effect. At a personal level, professional, at an individual level, I'm quite excited and I'm looking forward to seeing more Zambian marketers taking up positions in the international space, taking up positions in these multinational institutions, organizations. I would also like to see more marketers coming up and saying, look, they want to run for president. I would like to see more people coming up running for positions, because then it gives me confidence that we are running an institute which is aspirational. So in terms of what the future holds, I'm looking forward to seeing marketers that are respected internationally.
Same. I'm looking forward as well.
We really are looking forward to that. And I think, like, even in as much as we have entered this space where we decided to band up as marketers who are excited about marketing and the profession and talk about it, would also hope to see more people do the same and be able to just
champion,
marketing, talk more about marketing, and just have more people, tune in and see, okay, these guys are serious. Are other people doing this and talking about their professions like this and topics within their conversations, I think would be good as well in that regard.
Yeah.
Now we also have, as we close. Yeah. And I feel like you mentioned part of this at the beginning, and now I'm excited to ask you the question. If you were to pick one brand, product, or service which embodies Zambia and what we are all about, what brand, product, or service would you pick?
I wouldn't.
Really?
I wouldn't. And simply because each and every brand in this country is being managed by one of my members. So I will not be biased to
very
that extent.
Diplomatic. Very diplomatic.
I will not be biased enough. So they're all doing a great job.
Okay.
The others have room for improvement. Others have improved. But I think there are a lot of great brands out there and representing the nation very well. Thank you.
Yeah, that was very, very strategic.
Very
strategic response.
Okay. Is there a marketing book that you feel has greatly impacted your marketing career?
Interesting. Joe Lancaster, Marketing Fundamentals. And in a way, because I had the privilege of teaching with him at the same institution. And when he was not available, I would use his textbooks to teach. So that has, I think, in a way impacted, and I think just a level of interaction and, with the author. And that gave me the motivation as well.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's lovely. I'll ask you one more question. So if you sat down to listen to our podcast, who do you think would be an amazing guest for the show? That you would actually be like, I'm excited. I want to listen to what this person has to say.
I'll definitely not say myself.
We've already ticked that box.
Yeah, I think we have a chief marketing officer. Since I've been here, maybe the challenge I throw to you is that find time and let's bring the chief marketing officer.
That's a challenge. your homework.
How do we connect
No,
to the
listen,
office?
listen. You've been given a challenge.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
lovely.
We can discuss the modalities, but
Yes.
the challenge is out there.
Oh, yeah,
No, I mean for him to challenge us.
Yes.
He's probably so if we do, he will support us.
Yes. All the
So
way.
we have the president's support to get the president on the podcast.
Wow. Challenge accepted. Huh?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, beautiful.
Didn't see that answer coming.
No, so I'm still gobsmacked.
That's an interesting answer. Neither did I see it coming, but
Surprise.
it would be very interesting now that you've mentioned it. I'm actually just envisioning it.
The conversation.
Yes,
How
yes.
good.
Let's make that dream a reality.
Yes.
Perfect. No, we are happy that you made time to come and be with us, have this conversation, and just bring our audience into this space. Of which we appreciate that you take the time to listen to us, and please connect with us on our social media platforms. You can reach out to us on
X.
email, ask us questions that you'd like us to answer as we have these episodes and conversations.
As well as guests who you think would be also good for the show.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, Mr. Besa, thank you so much.
No, thank you
for
so
coming.
much. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
Very awesome engagements, and it's always good to see professionals doing things in a professional way.
Yes.
So you have all our support, and I'd like to believe that even when it's posted on the ZIM platforms, it's something that will also attract. Just that action will attract more listeners to actually be able to plug in.
Yes.
But thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I've learned a
So
lot,
much,
and
yeah.
again, I say kudos to you and everything that you're doing to our professional body. Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
On that note,
on that note, please remember to keep your finger on the marketing pulse.
we hope that you have enjoyed today's episode just as much as we have.
Till next time, remember to keep your finger on the marketing pulse.